Insanity, insanity, whatever happened to humanity?
The Exorcist is a 1973 American supernatural horror film directed by William Friedkin.
When a mysterious entity possesses a young girl, her mother seeks help of two Catholic priests to save her life.
I think I've lost my faith.
Is there someone inside you?
Sometimes.
Who is it?
I don't know.
Is it Captain Howdy? You ever heard of exorcism?
I love horror films. And to be fair, by me liking horror films and this being my number one infatuation of horror, it's a shocker that I'm just now reviewing The Exorcist. But to be fair, I came across The Exorcist a few times. The first time I watched it, I was already an adult. But the reason why it took me so long to catch view to this film is because, how to say this, I ended up finding out about this film through a lot of parody videos like Scary Movie and a lot of other films making fun of The Exorcist. But they wasn't really making fun of The Exorcist because they was talking shit about it. They was making fun of it because of how well known and how scary that film is. And it's a good thing that I've gained enough maturity to watch this film to take it seriously. Because this film is horror to a whole another level. And to be fair here, I feel like if children watch this film or people that's in an immaturity stage of not nurturing their own mindset of understanding fair pacing, fair execution to a film like this that won't push certain fast jump scares to you just so you can be entertained, this film is all about the expertise of well done acting for you to believe that you are on the screen and witnessing what they're witnessing. This film isn't for kids because of that. And even if you're an adult, this film will do something to you. I've watched it once by myself when I was 25. I watched it twice when I was 27. And my third time I was watching it with my fiance, and it was, the crazy thing is she didn't even like it because she's younger than me. But when I made her watch it the second time, I made her watch it by herself, it done something to her. The movie picks up at a fair pace to build up pacing of both Reagan McNeil and her family, and also the priest, Jason Miller. I'm going to have to say that the pacing was well warranted and at the same time well done and executed to the point where, again, it made me feel relation and attached to these characters. Even with Jason Miller's character, the priest, and by us understanding his motivations is very important because by him being a priest, we needed to see how he was in the outside manner of his own work. And he wanted to let all this whole thing go. He wanted to leave all the stuff behind him until he ends up getting a certain distress of discomfort, help that made him want to go back and try to see if he can save this young girl's life, which is Linda Blair that played as Reagan McNeil. And her acting was phenomenal. It was fantastic to the point where I wanted to feel more detail to her character and her family. Now, to be fair, we know enough of her character and her family to the point where it can drive the film of the relatability of when things get bad. But I want to know more attachment to her and her mother, which is Ellen Burstyn, who played as Chris McNeil. And the reason why I'm saying that I wanted more attached to her is because the movie starts where she's already going through rough times when it comes to her budget and when it comes to just keeping her and her daughter and her sitter just in tame, to keep things in a whole mature level. And I wanted to know more about her character. I want to know more what got her into this whole point in the first place, especially before things got bad when the girl ended up getting possessed. And I can understand. I can understand where their angle was, but I feel like if you're going to drive something, to build something, and you don't show it to us, you must have been doing that for a reason. But when we get enough pacing with these characters, this is when the film begins to slowly turn that dial of not giving us horror just yet, but giving us tension with these characters. When the daughter begins to get exposed to the entity, I like how it didn't just show it getting completely in full control of her. They wanted to show us certain small signs that was going on with her character, with her behavior, how she was behaving outside the house, and just how the house was interacting with this entity as well, giving us certain small things to build up the factor of us feeling as if maybe this isn't right. Maybe this is just her interacting with her age, or maybe this could be something darker. I like that. I like how you want to give us realistic realizations to this film, so we can feel as if something does bad happen, we are completely on board with this. That's the reason why my fiance didn't like it at first, because again, new generation horror just gives us the scares, gives us the suspense very little. But when it comes to The Exorcist, they give us a lot of everything, especially when it comes to us feeling relation of these things happening in real time. And it's not like the demon was doing anything that was like out of whack. It really felt like this whole entire possession could really happen. When it comes to stuff like this, you kind of get rid of the audience when it comes to using CGI or using fake dummies. But when it comes to this film, man, when they were showing stages of possession, the more possessed she was getting, the more scared I was. And then the best part to me was when the priest had to show up because things were just getting completely out of control. And I think that was actually the major strength of this whole film when it all paid off. The most powerful synopsis to this film is when the priest shows. At this point, there's no more tension. There's no more scares. There's no more buildup. It's just them trying to exorcise the child. And this is where we all get hooked into the screen, because this film doesn't have no jump scares at all. It doesn't have no psychology when it comes to you thinking that things are literally too supernatural. If these priests are not exercising a child, they're just having a normal conversation, just trying to get to know the entity so they can get further research to get the exorcism working. And I thought it was perfect. I thought it was good. And even if they were just doing this, I really did feel uncomfortable. I really did feel like something is not right. And then again, it can be tension building up, but you would never know, because by everything that we have witnessed until this point, you don't know what to expect watching this film. And that's why people say this film will do things to you when you watch it. And that's like one of the major powers of The Exorcist. And honestly, that's the reason why it's ahead of its time, especially towards today, is that it uses a lot of elemental horror signs and effects to it. And it's pretty difficult, because by people being a fan of horror, being scared is subjective. It's like, what are you afraid of? But I don't care if you're into clowns, paranormal phenomenon, or just that wiggly thing that be tickling the balloon. My point is, everybody will be afraid if it can happen to them. And I think that's the reason why The Exorcist was so successful, is because every horror element of this film, except using jump scares and CGI, made us believe that this was something to really take seriously. And this was before things got bad. This is before the possession took full control. But when it does happen, this film takes us into a whole nother level of us even feeling as even if the priest succeeds, we still feel uncomfortable as the watcher. Overall, I really enjoyed this film a lot. I love this film so much. And where are you? I own a special edition. I gave one of my Blu-ray copies to a couple of close friends of mine, and I hope they've seen it last weekend. And if not, this is a recommendation for y'all to check it out as well. And especially if y'all into horror. If y'all into horror, this has to be in your radar of entertainment, especially if in this month of Halloween. But that's all the time we have for today, unfortunately. Please stay tuned for more of my upcoming reviews and videos headed your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and I hope you all have a good day.